Today was pretty much like every other day, except for the fact that you were graduating. Honestly, you were just happy that it was done and over with. You had a love-hate relationship with school and the questionable learning program you were in. Finishing with a 3.86 GPA, you were feeling quite proud of yourself. Your friend, on the other hand, is absolutely ecstatic. She is doing your makeup right now, and you told her to not go too extreme. But you already had 50 pounds of eyeshadow on, and it just keeps going downhill. You think she might be a bit overzealous, but eventually she finishes. You are amazed. It's like she cast some sort of spell on you. You have soft pink eyeshadow, which is darker on the outer eye, and flawless eyeliner. Any imperfections of your skin have melted away. Your skin is like porcelain. Oh my God! You managed to get out. It's beautiful! Thank you! You clinged onto her. She pats your head with the makeup brush she still has in her hand. Don't thank me. Thank your mama for those jeans, kiddo. She chuckles. You pull away and admire your outfit and makeup in the mirror before you say, Thanks, Mom! And you both burst into fits of laughter. Everything before this moment was a blur. You only vaguely remember standing with all the other graduates of your year, most of them being much older than you, sipping punch and waiting for your seats. You do not vividly remember sitting down either. But now you were fully aware as the announcer called your name. You walked across the stage in your cape and gown, take your diploma, shake his hand, and before you knew it, the moment was over. You were happy that your friend was there to see you, but you couldn't help but wish that your parents could be there too. When the after party was over, and after you took about 20 pics with some people you barely knew, your graduation was over. It was not nearly as exciting as you imagined. You were actually very underwhelmed. Were other people's graduations so brief? Still though, you were very glad to be finished with high school. You had already decided that you were going to be waiting a year, or possibly more, to attend college. If you went at all, it would be because you needed to. Right now, you wanted to enjoy your youth while you still had it. Being in high school classes at such a young age had taken a lot of your time of just being a kid, as did many other things. And you were a teenager now. As much as you want to, you can't stay little forever. It was 2 a.m. You and your friend stayed up having a party, which mostly consisted of her taking pictures of you and you guys watching Mean Girls while eating graduation cupcakes. Once the movie was over, you decided to hit the hay. Your friend took the hint and went back to her apartment after saying her goodnight. You figured you'd shower in the morning, or later today rather. You put on your pajamas and climbed into bed. You were lulled to sleep by the sounds of rain and the city. You wake up to the sound of your phone ringing. It's a number you don't know, so you decide not to answer. You turn over and try to go back to sleep, but it rings again, and it's the same number. You picked up your phone and answered the call. Hello? A voice says. Donnie? You replied groggily. Yeah, it's me. You hold back a yawn. Donnie's voice doesn't sound like it usually does. How did you get my number? I didn't give it to you, did I? Well, no, not exactly. Mikey gave it to me. You did remember giving the orange-clad turtle your number, but he hadn't called. Oh, right. You could have sworn you heard a small sob on the other end. Donnie, are you okay? You could hear him clearing now. No, he stuttered. You were unsure of what to say, so there was silence. Can I come over? Sure, you say, and are surprised of how empathetic you sound. Thanks. And then he hangs up. Soon after, there's a tap at your window. You open it to find a drenched Donatello. He looks like a lost puppy out in the rain. You quickly usher him in. Come inside. I'll get you some towels and a heating pad, okay? He stands awkwardly in your room waiting for you to come back, and tries his best not to soak your things. You return with your warmest towels and the heating pad. You wrap him in the towels and help him dry off. Here, sit down on the bed. You realize you hadn't turned on the light, so you did so. And what you saw horrifies you. Donatello had a huge cut on his lip and a bruise on the side of his mouth. You assume he's been beaten up by the Foot Clan. You rush to your first aid kit. You then go and sit down next to Donnie as you open up the kit and rummage through some things. You then turn to Donnie and say, Okay, this might sting a little. You then gently dab some alcohol on Donnie's wound. He breathes in sharply. Sorry. You look at the boy sitting in front of you. In all honesty, he looks pitiful, wrapped up in a blanket like that. You wonder why he came to you, and not someone else. You place bandages on the cut as gently as possible, which is difficult when it's on his face. You give him an ice pack for his bruise. Feel better? You ask. Mm-hmm. Thank you. This means a lot. You look at him empathetically. How did this happen, Donnie? He looks at you. He looks as vulnerable as ever. You can tell me. I won't make fun of you, I promise. He still doesn't look reassured. You hold up 2 fingers. Scout's honor. You smile. He chuckles half-heartedly. He is quiet for a moment. He's looking at the floor and occasionally at you. We had a fight. You and your brothers? He nods. What were you fighting about? Oh, something stupid, like always. Leo being paranoid and overprotective or something like that. He seems to be trying to act unbothered, but it's failing miserably. Oh, I see. You nod as you say. You reach out and touch his face. He seems surprised by your action. You gently rub your thumb over his bandages. How did this happen, Donnie? His eyes start to water, and he puts his hand over yours. He stares into your eyes for a moment, and then presses his face into your hand and cries. You guide his head onto your shoulder. You lean back onto your pillow. Donnie is now basically laying on top of you now, and you are holding him tighter than ever. Donnie takes a moment to process what he is doing. He is thinking of the fight, and what his brothers said to him and one another, and that hurt more than the bruises on his face. Next thing he knew, he was leaning closer to you, not totally conscious for a minute. But when his face touched your skin, Donnie felt something new. He cried into your shoulder, and you held him like he was the most precious thing. He had never been held like this before. No one had ever pet his head ever so gently like this. You held him as if he might break with the slightest wrong touch. It felt like a fuzzy blanket was placed over him. His feelings were incredibly warm. He could hear himself sobbing and feel the now moist fabric on your shirt. He wrapped his arms around your torso and laid his head on your chest. He relaxed at the sound of your heartbeat. He savored your soft shushes and carelessness. He wanted to speak at that moment. He wanted to tell you how he felt, but Donatello realized he does not know what he is feeling. All Donnie knew was that he felt complete with his arms wrapped around you. He cherished the way you held him and told him everything would be okay. He has stopped crying. His face still feels damp from the tears, but you don't seem to care as you stroke him. He looks into your eyes, and though Donnie knows you are much smaller than him, he still feels safe. You are both unsure of how much time has passed, but it felt like an eternity. Donnie wishes it could last forever. It's okay, you whispered softly. You don't have to tell me. And right then and there, Donatello knew exactly what he was feeling. It was love. You both fell peacefully asleep, wrapped in each other's arms. It was one of the best night's sleeps you and Donnie have ever had.